On October 17th, at the Pioneer Theater in New York City, the Ad Hoc Coalition for Justice in the Middle East, in conjunction with Al-Wan for the Arts and Third Eye New York, presented the film Arna's Children. At the time, Arna's son, Juliano Mer Khamis, who is also the filmmaker, was touring in the United States to raise funds for a new children's theater project in the Jenin refugee camp in the West Bank. After the screening, he took questions from the audience. This video shows part of that session.
Yes, please.
Do you see the theater as like an effective alternative to violence, or means to peace or victory, or is it just like you're trying to give these kids something positive in their lives before they go out into like the real world?
I think all your three questions are also the three answers. I think the theater is part of an activity against the occupation. A theater can give a piece of tranquilized environment and creative space for the children. And the theater is a mean in creating better people, I believe, which can be do better things in the future. We're not going to choose for them what they're going to do, but I think a theater, and I can quote a friend of the American friend of the Freedom Theater, Katie. She says, a theater is like a society. There's the actors and the painters and the sound. It's cooperation. You learn how to cooperate. You learn how to put targets and to achieve it and to put it on stage. It creates a small society which I think reflects the bigger society. But let's be honest. Theater is not an alternative to other means of struggle when you struggle against occupation. But this is our means. We join the children of Jenin to help them to overcome the damage that the Israeli occupation is creating. We are not social workers. We are not good Jews who are going to help the poor Arabs. We are political motivated people, and let's not hide it or disguise it.
Right.
We are against terrorism. We are against violence against civilians. We don't believe that the conflicts can be solved by blowing up buses. But we cannot restrict people under occupation not to struggle for their freedom. And they're going to choose the means as long as it's in the territories which were occupied. It is also legitimate in the Geneva Convention. So, who me to judge?
I know that you're raising theater, but do you have a theater program running right now? And could you talk a little bit about why you decided to start it again, and what's going on right now in terms of your program? And also, why did the program end after your mother passed away? Who decided to quit, or how did that end?
Well, because of the project was built on the energy of my mother, and you know, this kind of project like summer hill schools, and it's always one person there is behind it. When she died, most of the project died with her. Obviously why? I kept the theater alive another 2 years, and then there were the Oslo agreements, and people were that there is peace and there is the Palestinian state and everything is fine, and we had no more contribution. They dried us out. I left, and after 5 years I came with the film. I did the film generates people. I feel responsible. I go back to Jenin because I think that in the situation that is now in Israel, you cannot sit on the fence anymore. Either you join the Palestinians in their struggle for liberation, or you join the Israelis in their struggle for destruction of Palestine. There's no in between anymore. Look, I left Israel. I felt that the Israeli society today is blocked. If Lieberman in his way to the government, we don't have nothing to do there anymore. We have to wait till this fascist tendencies get to its peak, because it's going there. And they will shoot, they will destroy, they will shoot, they will kick, they will throw, they will expel, till at a point that the Israelis will be fed up and see that this is going nowhere, it goes back to them as a boomerang. But in this time of history, there's nothing to do there. And many people leave from, like us, and some of them go to join hand by hand the Palestinians. Every morning you wake up in Israel with 20 warnings of suicide attackers on their way to Tel Aviv. Every morning. They call it Hatra'a Chama. We have Israelis here? Yeah. You know this, Hatra'a Chama. Please, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm saying wrong things. When the intelligence sees that the 20 Hatra'a Chama hot warnings are already like something casual, they go to 35 hot warnings. The big scandal was when there was a mega suicide attack, a truck full of explosives on his way to Tel Aviv. The whole country was in sale, in the bathrooms and in the basement, also me. But this fear puts 5.5 million Israelis into a box that they don't see, they don't hear, they don't care what you do for their security behind the wall. That's why there is such an indifference in the Israeli society, not because they are bad people, because they are blocked. They are frightened. The extermination propaganda working 24 hours. Now, because Hamas declared there's no more suicide attackers, we are in a problem. So we have Iran. We always have somebody who wants to exterminate us. And in this way, we have the last solution of the Palestinian problem, which is what we see today. And I was an officer in the Israeli army, not an officer, I was Samal. I was a sergeant. The borders which are implemented today in Palestine, the wall, we were studying them in the sergeant courses, how to defend them. This is Alon plan. This was a plan 28 years ago. But good politicians, how we say, they catch the good timing in history to implement their plans. And this is what is happening today. Yes, please.
Can you tell us a little bit what's going on in Jenin now?
Yeah, thank you. It's a very good question, because I think it's very important to know that Jenin, especially Jenin, Tulkarem Kalkilia, this is the northern side of the West Bank, is under heavy raid and under heavy attack on daily and nightly basis, because this is the last stronghold of the resistance. Now, when I say resistance, it's not people shooting Israelis or blowing buses. Resistance as people who don't want to go on their knees, like in other parts of Palestine. They do not accept the boycott that United States, Europe, and Israel is imposing on them. People who get up in the morning and sing, and set weddings and screenings, and they go to work. This is resistance in Palestine today. People who are not willing to accept the Israeli dictations of the conditions of the Israeli peace. Also, there is groups of armed people who are still fighting. But resistance is not about arms today. It's about not accepting to be enclaved in cages. Not to accept to build the walls that are going to surround us and put us in ghettos. And I'm talking now as a Palestinian. This is the resistance. So Israelis are about to break this. Now, how you break this? You don't massacre people. It doesn't look on the media. You kill the leaders on a daily basis. Every day in Jenin, 4 to 3 people has been killed. Jamal Assad, who was killed, a good friend of mine who was killed Tuesday, he's a member of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. He was the guy who was connecting peace movements from Israel in Jenin. And he suggested me to bring people from the world to see the situation and to create some kind of non-violent resistance. He was shot 2 days ago. To break a nation, you cannot kill everybody, but you can destroy the fundamentalistic things of life, culture, No computers in the West Bank. It's smashed. Also ours. No libraries, no cinema, no theater, no water. Electricity 2 hours a day. In Jenin we buy water with tanks. Every night, around 2 o'clock at night, 2 jeeps and 2 tanks, they enter the camp and they cruise. No shootings, no house demolitions, just cruise. They go up and they go down and they go around and they go in, they go out, they go home, they go to sleep. You know, maybe it's going to sound too melodramatical or melodramatic. I hear the cries of the babies and the cries of the cats. It's very surrealistic thing. The cat and the baby at the same time because of this huge noise of the tanks. Now, why they do that? They're destroying neurologically a generation. You have to see the kids. They have tics. They're very violent. They don't listen. They pee in the pants. I'm talking about ages 10 and 11. They cannot express. They have a lot of speech problems. And this is the generation that Israel is creating. This is perfect generation for Israel. Because those people have 2 choices. The mosque and the weapon. And this is exactly what Israel wants to present to you, that we have a mujahideen with Allahu Akbar. This is our enemy. You want us to sit with this? You want us to talk to them? Look at them. We are fighting this phenomena. It's very hard because, I mean, you know, it's massive. In Jenin it's tanks. In Gaza it's pilots who are now touring in the States. Refuseniks. They refuse to do it, but there are a lot of others. They fly. You know this, when you go over the speed of voice of
sonic boom,
and the glasses in the house every night, every night, every night, every night, every night. This is you don't hear about. You just hear about the bus was blowing in Tel Aviv and the reaction of the Israeli army in Gaza, but you don't hear the daily damage they are creating and damaging those people. This is not on the news. Yes, please, you wanted to ask me something.
I just wanted, it just seems like the Communist Party is so important to the Jewish history and Palestinian history, and I'm wondering if you could talk about the stance of the Communist Party on Israel's existence as a state throughout since
I think you no. I have a solution for this. You buy me a beer, and we go upstairs and we have this. It's a long. It's an interesting question, but it's a really long story. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, folks. Thank you for coming.